Ever wondered what happens when the mics are hot, the cameras are rolling, and the tension in the room suddenly just boils over? Today, we're diving deep into the really explosive world of urban podcasting. It's a place where interviews aren't always just conversations, and, beef isn't just something happening online. Yeah, so our mission for this deep dive is basically to unpack a stack of truly wild stories. We've got transcripts, video clips, commentary from your sources, and we want to understand the sparks, right? What ignites conflict between hosts, guests, even rival platforms. We'll look at the causes, some surprising facts, and, well, what it all means for the online content landscape. It's changing so fast.
It really is. And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how these intense moments often blur the lines. Is it genuine confrontation? Or is it, as some might call it, just content? We'll explore the motives behind it, the fallout, which can be very real, and just how quickly that verbal sparring can escalate into, well, something much more serious.
Okay, let's unpack this. Maybe start with some of the most direct confrontations. Sometimes the spark is incredibly personal. It can start when an interviewer just pushes the wrong button, or a guest feels profoundly disrespected right there on camera. Like, take the case of Lil House Phone and Adam 22 on No Jumper. That fallout in 2023 was intense. It kicked off when Adam did a podcast with a trans woman. She claimed she'd hooked up with House Phone. And even though Adam apparently tried to edit it out, the story just blew up. House Phone felt utterly betrayed. He told Adam directly on a live stream something like, "You permanently altered my life," and that he sold me down the river for 50,000 views. Just raw emotion there.
It really raises a critical question, doesn't it? What happens when personal lives, really personal stuff, get exposed for public consumption like that? Especially without consent. And the tension with House Phone, it just escalated. Adam's apology on the news, mentioning House Phone going through the mom, that was seen as super disrespectful, especially after Adam brought up paying for House Phone's mother's funeral. And that wasn't even the first time. There was that earlier incident, right, where Adam joked about House Phone's mother being beaten by his father, called her a bee. House Phone just crashed out, as they say. Completely lost it from the disrespect.
Yeah, just pushed too far. And it wasn't just with Adam 22. House Phone had a similar kind of run-in on his own show, Biggest Bro Entertainment, with Potlord. Potlord apparently kept cutting him off during a discussion about sneaker brands, just interrupting. And when House Phone finally snapped, he brought up Potlord's drinking addiction, saying, "You a drunk that's beat." That's when Potlord flashed out, clearly just fed up.
Right. So we're definitely seeing a pattern here. Perceived disrespect, especially when it touches on really sensitive personal issues or someone's craft, their reputation. It triggers this immediate, often explosive response. The interviewer's role can flip so fast, from asking questions to being a provocateur. Take Skinny from the Nine on craft culture. The interviewer literally starts by trolling him with a block of cheese. A direct reference to Skinny's reputation for snicking, informing. Then it gets worse. The interviewer jokes about Skinny's Bell's palsy diagnosis, saying it explained why his music was so trash.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Skinny immediately crashed out for real, just threatened everyone, "Smac cameraman, smack goofy, get back, smack, press play on the threats everywhere."
You can absolutely see why these situations boil over, though. That basic human instinct to retaliate when you feel attacked, when those lines are crossed, it's not isolated. We see this dynamic again and again, even with maybe more subtle stuff, like P.D. Raw. He got so pissed because an interviewer was just talking on the phone during their session, making smart statements. PD threatened to tear everything up in the house, or Brocase F walking off his interview because Kevin kept asking federal questions while Broke was high off lean. It's not trading the room. Nine Island Boys. Right. They threatened to tear up all the podcast equipment because the host kept bringing up that old viral clip of them kissing. Just wouldn't let it go.
And this pattern? Provocation escalating to physical threats? Sometimes actual actions. I saw it again with Mayo. Remember that BBA kept joking about snatching chains, then asked how badly you think I could beat your. Mayo just physically responded. Said, "Did not tell you not to play with me." Boundaries just snapped.
Okay, so beyond these individual interview clashes, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The whole urban podcast landscape itself, it's become a battleground. Your sources are suggesting that ever since YouTube started cutting these, huge checks, suddenly there was this plethora of hood podcasts just popping up everywhere. And that led to heavy competition, disagreements, envy, and hate. Basically, a content gold rush with sharp elbows.
Yeah, and if you connect that to the bigger picture, think about the mass exodus from No Jumper. After Adam 22 fell out with his original cast, right? That created this really decentralized environment. You had former hosts like House Phones starting their own platforms back on Fig, Biggest Bro Entertainment. This fragmentation, it just fueled rivalries. You got podcasters trolling each other, basically hoping for a viral moment, trying to win some clout online.
Right, and a prime example of that has got to be the feud between DJ Akademiks and T-Rell from back on Fig. That was intense. Their online beef was, trash-talking each other for weeks. T-Rell promising hands, a physical fight. Akademiks responding with threats like going Oppenheimer, basically saying he'd go nuclear on the ops. Just extreme language.
What actually happened when they met, this is where it gets murky, doesn't it? They were apparently vacationing at the same spot in Turks.
Yeah.
And then they're seen being buddy-buddy at a party.
Exactly, and the fans jumped all over it, calling out T-Rell for not keeping the same energy, leading to all these accusations that the beef was just content over everything. Manufactured drama. Akademiks even fanned the flames later, claiming he gaslit T-Rell and Smac into quitting No Jumper. He literally said, "I created back on Fig." It just raises so many questions about authenticity versus performance.
It really does. And this whole question of how much is real, the case of King Pill and Adam 22 illustrates this too. Adam brought up King Pill censoring gang disses in his song. Now, doing that specifically instigated Aunt Haffy, who's from A-Tray Gangster Crip and was also on the live podcast. Predictably, the live chat just went nuts. Everyone started clowning King Pill because it looked like he was backing down on air. That live pressure is immense.
And it didn't end there. That King Pill and Hefe thing spilled over after the podcast. King Pill, supposedly high on shrooms, physically tried to fight Adam 22 over a $200 payment, apparently. Adam described King Pill's energy as weird, aggressive, said he physically pushed him away, but then, interestingly, King Pill's own friends apparently stepped in to de-escalate it. Why? Because they recognized the value of the No Jumper platform for their careers.
Right. To show us how complicated it is. The platform is both the stage for the conflict and potentially a crucial career asset.
Yeah.
And this really shines a light on that instigator role. Some hosts, like Adam 22, are accused of playing. Sources literally call him the Jerry Springer of this podcast world. Accused of stirring the pot with a gold spoon, using these calculated, maybe exploitative tactics. What one source called nigger-neater capitalism tactics.
Wow.
Yeah, designed purely to create controversy, chaos, confusion, conflict, and confrontation. All for viral content. It really makes you question the whole enterprise. Is it journalism? Or is it more like those jump-out boys with microphones, just provocateurs looking for drama?
So, okay, what does this all mean when those lines between real life and quote-unquote content get so incredibly blurry? Sometimes the content goes to a truly dark place, like the notorious incident with podcaster Taxstone, convicted of manslaughter, right? For that 2016 shooting at Irving Plaza. It tragically killed a bodyguard, injured the rapper Troy Ave, and then Troy Ave himself testified against Taxstone. That's obviously hugely controversial in the rap world, often called snitching, but it ultimately reduced Troy Ave's own charges. These are real-life, devastating consequences.
Absolutely. And that tragic event is such a stark contrast to what appeared to be more, let's say, staged or maybe prank altercations. Like that confrontation between Compton AD and BMXVille on No Jumper. AD seemed totally ready for action, but later it came out it was just a prank based on some joke. It's so hard for viewers to tell sometimes.
Yeah, how do you even know? And what about that absolutely terrifying moment when Adam 22 had a gun put to his head during a live stream? His security jumped in, knocked the guy out. But Adam later admitted he wasn't even sure if it was real or a prank. He even said, he kind of laughed because it seemed more likely that it would be a prank. It's just wild. Right. And that uncertainty got even worse when someone else came into the studio with another fake gun just 2 days later. It creates this atmosphere where you just don't know what's real danger and what's performance.
Exactly. But while some incidents are ambiguous like that, others have very clear documented consequences, like Gibo reportedly breaking an interviewer's Rolex worth $330,000, apparently.
Ouch.
Yeah. Or during that interview on Open Thoughts, Southside just threw and broke Funny Marco's Rolex. Marco confirmed it later. And they broke my $30,000 watch in calling Mia. Real financial loss. Real property damage.
And the confrontations, they aren't always about, physical blows or broken watches either. When 16 Shot M confronted Flacco on No Jumper, accused him of playing both sides, called him Kivo, which was clearly provocative, security had to step in before it got fully physical. It's that constant tension, isn't it, between maintaining street cred, whatever that means in this context, and chasing online clout. It creates this really dangerous dynamic.
It absolutely does. And even really established figures, like Rick Ross, have gotten involved in actual real-world altercations that started from interviews. His team allegedly jumped DJ Vlad, left Vlad bruised up, led to a massive lawsuit, $5 million or $10 million. And as one source bluntly put it, Rick Ross proved his point, so no one's going to ask Rick Ross any of those questions anymore. It shows how some see direct, even violent action as a way to control their narrative. Ultimately, I think the content from these platforms often thrives on that raw, unfiltered conflict. It's compelling, right? But as we've seen, this can range all the way from calculated provocations just for views to genuinely dangerous situations with incredibly serious real-world consequences, property damage, injury, even death. And that immediate feedback loop, especially with live streaming, creates this almost irresistible pressure to escalate things. It makes even authenticity feel like a performance sometimes, blurring lines for everyone involved.
We've definitely navigated a pretty wild landscape of conflict today, from personal insults blowing up into physical threats, to whole podcast empires basically clashing for online dominance, and these increasingly blurry lines between authentic beef and, well, drama manufactured for the clicks.
Yeah, and the common thread, as we've kind of discussed, often seems to tie back to that relentless pursuit of attention, of virality, in what's become a super competitive digital space. And the consequences of crossing the line, they can be incredibly real, even when some moments might start out crafted just for the camera.
So maybe the question for you as you consume this kind of content in this really dynamic, often explosive world is, when does pushing buttons just for entertainment cross over into genuinely dangerous instigation?
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how that hunger for algorithmic engagement, for those views and clicks, can sometimes just completely overshadow the potential for real-world harm. It creates this spectacle where the stakes are often way higher than they first appear.
And what does that ultimately mean for the future of online content and for the people who make it and, well, for all of us who consume it?